pop quiz for prize. Whoever can tell me who said this quote will receive a handmade artwork, whichever one I decide you deserve. Who said, art can appear in almost any form, but the orders of the art world are pretty tightly policed ideologically. There's no teabaggers art in any of these affairs. There's a lot of kinds of expressions and sensibilities that aren't allowed in these. You could say it's a liberal festival. Anybody? Want to hazard a guess? I'll give you a hint. He writes for the New York Times. You're red hot. Anybody? No? Who? Ken Johnson. Liberal festival. Feminism is upsetting white boys on the internet. A woman on a bus was severely beaten, gang raped, and penetrated repeatedly with a wheeljack handle by 6 men while the bus driver drove on. She sustained numerous external injuries, including bite marks and severe damage to her genitals. Her internal injuries presented a hopeless case to her doctors, although she fought on. Her uterus was destroyed, and one attacker described seeing a rope-like object being pulled from her body by his co-rapists, her intestines. She died 13 days later. You are nothing but a hole. Women are the only oppressed group in our society that lives in intimate association with their oppressors. You are fated to eventually discover that the man you love actually has the sexual morals of a 75-year-old Southern Baptist white man when it comes to your sexuality. We have free speech, maybe, but do we have really free speech? If what we have to say doesn't sell, will we still say it? Can we? Or is everybody looking for things that sell to say? Could writers or artists end up playing the role of palace entertainers? Every time I say something they find hard to hear, they chalk it up to my anger and never to their own fear. This could actually save a life. Keys are not a deterrent because you have to get really close to the attacker to use them as a weapon. So the idea is to convince these guys you're not worth it. Please stop using the hashtag #YesAllWomen. The creator is getting death and rape threats and no longer wants the tag used for her own safety. Just because you're paranoid, it doesn't mean you're not a racist, misogynistic asshole. Okay, let's have another pop quiz for a prize. The history of progress is written in the blood of men and women who have dared to espouse an unpopular cause. As, for instance, a black man's right to his body or a woman's right to her soul. She's a communist. You got it! All right.
Say it louder. Who is it?
Emma Goldman.
She's an anarchist.
I'm going to give you a handmade sculpey vagina sculpture covered with blue water. In addition to this year's Whitney Biennial, Deutsche Bank has also financed the mining corporation Anglo Gold Ashanti, a longtime partner of the militia FNI, the Nationalist and Segregationist Front, which is responsible for numerous war crimes in the 17-year ongoing civil war in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I'm sure my bank does too. Whenever a group protests on its own behalf and or on behalf of the greater good, it can be sure of certain reactions, including but not limited to total dismissal, eye-rolling, blaming of said group for its own oppression, name-calling, threats of castigation, accusations of attention-mongering and stunt-pulling, threats of violence such as rape and murder, and being totally ignored. Art that is displayed in museums becomes immediately more valuable. Starting around 30 years ago, Philip Morris began pumping up its art collection and sponsoring exhibits with the slogan, "It takes art to make a company great." At about this same time, Big Tobacco began to be vilified and came under legal scrutiny for ruthlessly marketing its poisonous products. But they had art. Yeah. I want to live. Women have recently been told that if we can get married to a man, we are less likely to get raped statistically. He playfully asked me how many guys I'd slept with. I cut the number in half, just in case, and told him it was never the same after that. The first thing men look for in a potential victim is hairstyle. They are most likely to go after a woman with a ponytail, a bun, a braid, or other hairstyle that can easily be grabbed. Women with short hair are not common targets. They tore me from front to back. Art Assure Limited is an art finance firm dedicated to minimizing uncertainty and risk for both sellers and purchasers of fine art through innovative strategies and financial services. Our unprecedented experience in the worlds of art and finance enable us to be your advisor and advocate, tailoring our services to fit your personal and financial objectives. My physical appearance does not belong to me. I've known that since I was 5. Authorship is slipperier for some than for others. She pushes apart her thighs with a grimace of pain and pumps her fist up and down to show how the militiamen shoved an automatic rifle inside her after 7 of them had taken turns raping her. When her husband could not produce the US dollars they asked for, they put a gun to his head and pulled the trigger. When her 2 children started crying, the rebels killed them too. She lost consciousness and wishes now that her life also had ended on that day. Okay, let's have another pop quiz. Women are the only exploited group in history who have been idealized into powerlessness. Feminist writer, one of the big names. I'll say it again. Women are the only exploited group in history who have been idealized into powerlessness.
Betty today? Joyce Stein? Douglas? Judith Douglas?
Huh?
Judith Douglas? No.
Gloria Steinem?
Iverson.
No. Or there are more than that. Oh, damn. Huh? No. She would say we asked for it. All right. It's Erica Jong. I am not afraid. I was born to do this. Money requires our suspension of disbelief in order to function. He said he would kill me if I called the police. After the initial hit, I always go for the groin. You might want to write this number down and dial it later, not during the performances. 669-221-6251. One more time. 669-221-6251. The opportunities for financial return from art have increased dramatically over the last decade, and a wider audience is now considering investing in art. It is, of course, a highly appealing proposition that objects bought for aesthetic enjoyment can also rise in value. Women have recently been told that we covet the status of rape victim because it confers super cool privileges. Every market is driven by supply and demand. Value is intrinsically linked to quality. Together, the 103 participants offer one of the broadest and most diverse takes on art in the United States that the Whitney has offered in many years. It's hard to fight an enemy who has outposts in your head. The Medicis use art to project status and power. Art confers respectability and respect. The curators of the Deutsche Bank art collection regularly present their purchasing ideas to a committee of bankers who exert the final say on acquisitions. Feminism really clears a room. At Art Assure Limited, we take an active role in the arrangement of financing for businesses operating or forming within the art space. Mercury's in retrograde. I am most often aware that I'm a woman when I feel threatened or when someone, through actions, body language, or words, points out that I am a woman. This diverse Whitney biennial includes work by Donnell Wolford, a black woman artist. Actually, she is the fictional creation of a white male artist named Joe Scanlon. He wanted to explore ideas of authorship and thought the collages and paintings he had created would be more interesting if someone else had made them. Thus Donnell was born. My body is partly mended, but I don't know if my heart will ever heal. If men could get pregnant, abortion would be a sacrament. Okay, let's have a pop quiz for one of these prizes. Who said our participation inside of this white supremacist institution is a protest in itself? Can you name the collective she's in? I'm sorry, it's the artist Christabel of the Yams Collective. Want me to read it one more time? It's kind of a good one. Our participation inside of this white supremacist institution is a protest in itself. Get a great big ceramic heart covered with nail polish. It's not a conflict of interest. Visitors to Kara Walker's exhibition, A Subtlety, or The Marvelous Sugar Baby, have been unable or unwilling to refrain from engaging in sexualized clowning before the breasts and vagina of the monumental figure. Women's bodies, especially black women's bodies, become derided objects of public property as soon as they are on view. Nothing is sacred. Down on your luck? Art Assure Limited specializes in asset-based lending using art and art alone as collateral. We offer interim, non-recourse loans at competitive rates for both buyers and sellers who wish to obtain liquidity. We assist or arrange for the financing of collections, individual works of art, dealer inventories, estates, trusts, legal settlements, and entire auctions. The 17-year-old girl was raped by 4 boys whom she knew, who then posted a photo of the attack, which went viral. She never recovered from the betrayal and bullying she endured, and 3 years later took her own life. Indeed, valuing a piece of art is a complex matter. Art defies the kinds of statistical scrutiny that dictate other investments. This in itself makes art a more intricate asset to analyze, as the determinants of value are as subjective as objective, determined as much by prevailing taste as by specific data pinning a work of art to a date, a medium, and an artist. Those seeking to buy art with an eye to investment should be conscious of the factors which cause some works to be more highly valued than others. A young woman was found hanging from a tree in a village on Thursday. Her family told local reporters that she had been raped and killed. Let's have another pop quiz. Pop quiz. Who said, "A woman watches her body uneasily, as though it were an unreliable ally in the battle for love"? I'll give you a hint. Songwriter. Guy. Let's hear that one more time. A woman watches her body uneasily, as though it were an unreliable ally in the battle for love. Another hint. I think he became a Buddhist monk for a while.
Leonard Cohen.
Yes, who said that? You did a handy portable purse goddess. I was never so happy as when he took a vow of silence. He's back now. The second thing men look for is clothing. They will look for women whose clothing is easy to remove quickly. Many of them carry scissors around to cut clothing. Placing your art with the most appropriate private buyer or in the most appropriate auction can involve a delay before gaining liquidity. Our consignment loans advance up to 50% of the estimated value of a work or collection, allowing you to seize other opportunities while we work to achieve the best outcome for your transaction. A group of rapists and date rapists in prison were interviewed on what they look for in a potential victim. And here are some interesting facts. Demand in the art market is intrinsically linked to fashion. In fact, fashion can affect art market cycles as much as financial factors. Most recently, contemporary art has seen a surge in value, with some artists' works increasing in value month on month. Currently, there are iconic names, such as Jeff Koons, which appeal to a very broad and affluent client base. Prices for works by the great masters of the 20th century, alongside the living generation of artists, are at the height of popularity. When the Yams Collective, who entered the Whitney Biennial as How Do You Say Yam in African, with their film Good Stock on the Dimension Floor, withdrew from the biennial in further protest of the institution's policies and their treatment by the curators, their action was largely mischaracterized and derided in the press. At least one journalistic outlet found occasion to speculate on the possible art world romantic pursuits of one of the women in the collective, however. I alone knew what I had suffered. I alone knew what it felt like to be alive but dead. Christie's and Sotheby's, the two major auction houses, have spent nearly $1 million in the last couple of years to lobby against artist resale royalty efforts, such as the American Royalties II, or ART Act of 2014, which was introduced in Congress and would require a $5,000 resale royalty for artists. It has gone nowhere. As an asset class, art has outperformed other asset classes during the last 20 years. If investing in art is your goal, we can assist you in shaping a portfolio to your chosen risk-reward profile. We assist or arrange for the financing of collections, individual works of art, dealer inventories, estates, trusts, legal settlements, and entire auctions. Okay, here's a good one. It's a pop quiz. It's art historical. Who can tell me who said, art is vice. You don't marry it legitimately, you rape it. I'm not making it up. All right, I'll give you a hint. Impressionist painter. You got right on the first one. Edgar Degas. The one who liked all the little ballerinas. You do. Nice job. Let's hear that one more time though. Art is vice. You don't marry it legitimately. You rape it. I know I rape my art all the time.
Nice.
I'm sure all of you do too. A girl got drunk at a party and was likely drugged without her knowledge. After she passed in and out of consciousness, vomiting at times, some boys from her school took turns raping her and recorded it on their cell phones. They posted it on YouTube and texted photos in which they can be seen lugging her limp body around by her limbs as though she were a bagged deer. They were convicted and feel that their lives are now ruined. You are fortunate indeed to have the option of turning your face away whenever you feel like it. Two cousins, ages 14 and 15, were abducted, gang raped, strangled, and strung up from a mango tree. People really especially hate it when women protest the injustices done to their bodies and souls. I noticed the lock on the bathroom door was broken, but I closed the door behind me. One night when I was 12, the phone rang. I answered it. Is this Amy? I vaguely recognized the voice as belonging to a boy in my class. Yes. Pause. Amy, I'm gonna tie your legs apart and get your pussy and fuck you. Another second, then a dial tone. Careful appraisal of the value and appeal of individual artworks is our first goal. This enables us to determine the best venue for a work or collection of art. A sales campaign can be instituted directly to private clients through the auction facilities of the two major houses through a worldwide network of dealers, each of whom specializes in some aspect or period of fine art representation, through representation at major art fairs, and to investment groups who view art as an investment class. The 22-year-old man, enraged to the breaking point by women who had rejected him and caused him to remain a virgin, opened fire in a busy commercial strip. He killed 6 people and then shot himself. All right, let's have another pop quiz. This one's kind of easy, I think. For a prize, who can tell me who said, men are afraid that women will laugh at them. Women are afraid that men will kill them. Writer. She's Canadian. Yes. You get a gold glitter covered skull.
Who was that?
It was Margaret Atwood. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
One more time. Men are afraid that women will laugh at them. Women are afraid that men will kill them. By Margaret Atwood. An armed man entered an engineering class at a university in Canada. He ordered the 50 men and 9 women into separate sides of the room. He fired a shot into the ceiling and then ordered the men to leave. All 50 of them left. The man opened fire and began a rampage targeting women, which left 14 dead. He also injured 10 other women and 4 men, finally shooting himself. Joe Scanlon's romantic life, as far as I can tell, has not been the subject of any news items. I'm not sure about Donnell Wolford's, but she's not real and she really has nothing to gain or lose. The 15-year-old girl was raped by 3 boys, who then posted photos of the assault, which went viral. She killed herself 8 days later. One card left. My body is owned by the government.